Hi everyone, today we are going to be talking about lesson 1.3 and this is just the first day of transformations. So you will recall from last time that transformations change the size, shape, position, and or the orientation of a graph. And so we are going to kind of look in the opposite direction that we did last time. Last time we were given a graph or an equation and we were asked to identify the transformations. This time we're going to be given a function and asked to write a equation to represent some transformations. So let's talk about the steps that we'll go through to do that. The very first step will be to write the rule for the transformation in function notation. So we're going to talk about a change to our f of x, our original function. Step 2, we will substitute our actual function in for f of x. And then step 3, which will actually come into play more in the next lesson, but I want to go ahead and note it here. We will distribute and or simplify. And by simplify, I mean maybe combining some like terms, something like that. And so I'm going to say if needed. All right, we have an example here about translating down by 3. So let's go ahead and remind ourselves what the rule is for vertical translation. I'm going to switch over to the quick reference guide for a minute. All right, and so here in the quick reference guide, you can recall that for a vertical translation, we have some function f of x and then plus k. We're going to be focusing a little bit more on absolute value transformations today, but it's still the same whether we have a absolute value, a linear, or a quadratic. So this plus k is what we want to focus on. If k actually is positive, we're going to go up. And if it's negative, we're going to go down. So as an example, you can see that our parent function is here on the graph, dashed. There's our parent function. And our transformed function for a value of -5 for k moves us down by 5, and that's the highlighted graph. All right, so keeping that in mind, let's go back to our example. So our example is to translate down by 3. Our original parent function is x. So let's first do step number 1 and write our transformed function in function notation. So g of x, if you remember from just above, is whatever our parent function is, and then in this case we are going down by 3, so we're going to say -3. To take care of down 3. So notice that the -3 is outside of the function. It is not inside the function with x. It's outside. It's tacked onto the end. And remember that vertical transformations affect the whole function. All right, so let's substitute for f of x. We know that f of x is actually just x. So we can substitute that in and write g of x is equal to x minus 3. There's nothing else we can do to make this any more simplified, so we are done. G of x is x minus 3.